What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside podcast, and we are back today, and we are predicting the AFC North. Let's get down to business. First off, first team on the docket, we have the Baltimore Ravens. So, I really like this team. I really like this team a lot. I think if this is going to be the year for them to do it, why isn't it sharing? Hold on. Oh, I forgot to share. Give me a second. Here we go. If this has to be the year that they do it, right? There has to be the year they get over the hump, right?
They gotta make some shake. I tell you that much.
So when we look at the Baltimore Ravens, they have addressed a lot of their issues. They drafted, although controversially, a pass rusher. They needed an edge rusher. They drafted that Mike Green, one of the best edges in the draft. Then they also was able to get the best safety in the draft in Malachi Starks out of Georgia, who a lot of people love that pick. Put him alongside Kyle Hamilton, and then you have the secondary. You bring in Jair Alexander, that was a great addition. Even though you have to worry about his health, there's a lot of depth in that secondary. Where even if he does get hurt during the season, as long as he plays in the playoffs, that's going to be a great addition for them. You also still have Marlon Humphreys, and then they brought back Kyle Van Noy, um, Matabuki. He was really good for them last year, and then you have Travis Jones. So I really like, and then obviously Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith can't forget
Yeah.
about Roquan Smith. I really like this Ravens defense. I think this Ravens defense is far and away one of the top five defenses in the NFL. They did a really good job of rebuilding this defense. If you remember back in 2023, one of the reasons why they were able to make it to the conference championship game was the fact that I believe they had the number one ranked defense or one of the top two rated defenses in the NFL that year. They really needed their defense to be great. And I believe this year they have a really great defense that can propel them back to the conference championship and potentially a Super Bowl appearance. And then when you look at the offensive side of the ball, their offensive line isn't terrible. I think it's more middle of the pack. Ronnie Stanley, I like Ronnie Stanley and Linderbaum. All the other guys are okay. They'll hold in their end of the bargain. And then obviously
Tyler
you have,
Linderbaum is really good.
yeah, Linderbaum, he was really good for them last year. And then you have Ronnie Stanley, who's the left tackle. He's been obviously a really good left tackle for them for many years. And then you look at their skill positions. They bring in DeAndre Hopkins. I felt like they needed DeAndre Hopkins last year. Feels like a year too late in my opinion, but hey, you never know what he can do. He'll be a good blocking wide receiver for them, for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, who are two tremendous, obviously top at their division, top at their position. So then you have Zay Flowers, who's going to come back. I believe Zay Flowers, wasn't he hurt against the Bills?
Yes, he was.
So there you go. If they would have had Zay Flowers, who would have known? Maybe they could have made the Super Bowl that year, but we'll never know. This year, they're going to have Zay Flowers. Hopefully, he can remain healthy for the entirety of the season and playoffs because it came down to him in this past playoffs and in the previous past playoffs. Remember, he fumbled the ball. I think it was
At the
towards the
goal
one
line,
yard
yeah.
line. And
Hmm.
then this past year, he was hurt against the Bills. So he might be that difference maker when it comes down to the Bills and when it comes down to Chiefs. They need him to remain healthy. They have him in the slot, and then they have Rashad Bateman, and they have Mark Andrews. You have that two tight end lineman. Let me go to our last to get a better understanding of their depth chart. They I like that they drafted LeJontay Wester. If you don't know, he's out of Colorado. It's interesting
Yeah.
they have him in the slot because I feel like in Colorado he was more of an outside receiver than a slot receiver. I don't recall him being a slot receiver. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was more of an outside receiver. But
Um, I think yeah, I think so because they had what's his name?
Jimmy Horn, and
Yeah,
they
Jimmy
had
Horn. Yeah.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I guess he was the slot receiver, but he was playing a lot. But he a lot of his catches were vertical. I guess he was the slot receiver.
Wasn't
But any
wasn't Horn in the slot?
Horn again, I can't remember. I don't remember like what each actual position was at wide receiver, but I do remember a lot of their big plays was from LeJontay Wester. A lot of their big 50-yard, 60-yard plays was from LeJontay Wester. But anywho, he's in the slot. I actually like their depth at the wide receiver position. If you look at it, remember they drafted Tez Walker. I like him as a bench guy, not as a starter, not as a guy getting a bunch of minutes, but as a bench guy, and LeJontay Wester as well. They have good depth at the wide receiver position, and then obviously at the tight end position, you have Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. I'm always going to like that. And then you have Lamar Jackson, who's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. And then you have Derrick Henry, who's arguably one of the two best running backs in the NFL. So, and then you have Justice Hill, who's a quality backup. So I like this offense and I like this defense. Remember, they drafted Nate Wiggins last year, and then they brought in
Mm-hmm.
Awuzie as a backup cornerback, which is good. So you have depth at the cornerback position. You have the depth at the secondary position, and then you drafted Mike Green, who's an elite edge coming out of the draft, and then you also address some of your interior line issues. Guys started to develop a lot better, and Roquan Smith is an amazing linebacker. I really like this team a lot. I really like this team.
Yeah.
What is your thought? What is your thoughts on the Ravens overall, from a drafting perspective, and also just do you think that they can finally get over the hump and make the Super Bowl?
Oh man, see the Ravens. They are what am I contenders? They're contenders year in and year out from a combination of things. They go out and get free agents. They sign free agents. Lamar Jackson is phenomenal, and in the draft they don't overthink it. They go by who is the best player right now that we can use to build this team. Not drafting for need, but they're taking the best dudes and the best talent on the board. And it consistently works out year after year because there's dudes coming into the Pro Bowl. You're like, oh, yeah, I know who that guy is because the Ravens drafted him. And it's like good coaching as well. I do believe they have on paper the strongest roster in the AFC. And if any year was the year for them to get over that championship game in AFC championship game hump, it would be this upcoming season. And especially because I think the Chiefs, while they'll still be in the mix, they are vulnerable, even with Mahomes and the black magic they be doing. But I feel like the Ravens are really geared up to do something special. Like I said, I like the acquisitions of DeAndre Hopkins. Definitely needed another outside receiver, consistent outside receiver, veteran receiver, maybe teach Zay Flowers some more nuances out of that slot because D Hop also played his fair share of slot in the league. Uh, you still got Derrick Henry, who's going to be a dynamic 1-2 punch with him and Justice Hill. I just really like this team, man. I really do. I just like look up top to bottom. This is a very solid roster. I really don't have much complaints or any negatives to say about I even like the offensive line for the most part. I was high on Andrew Voorhees when he came out of college last year. I think that was last year. But yeah, this is a very solid team top to bottom. I don't really have much negative things to say. I do
Yeah.
like they got Chidobe Awuzie in free agency because
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Humphrey is prone to get injured and miss a game or two. They got some interior line help with John Jenkins from the Raiders in the offseason. I'm not sure how good he is, but man, I feel like that Malachi Starks and Cal Hamilton duo is going to be crazy.
Yep. I think is already one of the best safety duos in the league, and they haven't even
Yeah,
played it down yet.
I mean, you still can put. Oh wait, no. Oh, he's hurt right now. Okay, Darius Washington. So I forgot he's hurt. So I was gonna say maybe get a little tricky. You could put Malachi Starks, play him in a box, and have Darius Washington roam a little bit. But I don't know how severe Darius's injury is, but
So let me ask
Oh,
you
he's
this
on a
question.
pup list. Oh yeah, never mind.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think this is the most talented roster ever assembled for the Lamar Jackson era?
Honestly, yeah, I'd have to say yeah because let's Pro Bowlers all up and down the roster, and like it's not a single like before the other Lamar or Ravens rosters. We could say, oh yeah, the wide receiver position is just not where it needs to be. This is the like really the first time we could be okay. These are dudes that would start anywhere in the league. So yeah, this is probably the best. And you also got Derrick Henry. Like, come on now. I know he's 30, but he still told that he still had 1,800 yards last year, I believe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, this the hands down, this is the best.
I think the weak part of the roster is going to be their offensive line and the lack of edge rushers. That's why Mike Green is going to be very important for them this season. Hopefully, he can stay out of trouble and he can make some type of contribution. I think that's going to be the determining factor: is can the O line hold up consistently, and can they get some level of pass rush? If they can do those two things, I believe they'll be just fine because they have the depth at the cornerback position to make sure that in the event Jair Alexander or Marlon Humphreys goes down with an injury, they can just plug in a Wuzier and another cornerback and they'll be good to go. And on the offensive end, I think Lamar Jackson will be just fine. I think he'll hold up well. I think Derrick Henry, I know he's up there. He's over 30 years old, but he's shown over the years that he is not injury prone and that he can withstand any level of punishment. And because of Lamar Jackson's legs and because they have Justice Hill as a backup running back, I don't think they have to put so many touches, put so much on the shoulders of Derrick Henry for them to be an effective running team. And then you have Zay Flowers, you have Rashad Bateman, you bring in DeAndre Hopkins, you draft LeJontay Wester, and then you still have Tez Walker. I just really like this team, man, because from top to bottom, you have depth. You have guys in any given moment. If they go down with injury, they can overcome it. And guess what? Guess who's the backup to Lamar Jackson this year?
Cooper Rush.
So let's say Lamar Jackson, he has a messed up ankle, he needs to sit out for a game. You got Cooper Rush. So they have a good backup QB as well. It seems like every contingency plan they have in place in the event that a player needs to sit out for a game or two. I like this team a lot. I think they're going to be a great regular season team. It just comes down to the playoffs. It just comes down to can they make the
Get
necessary
over the hump.
plays
Yeah.
to get over the hump. I don't see the excuses this year. They have a great team as long as they can remain healthy, as long as Lamar continues to play MVP football. I don't see how this team doesn't come out of the AFC conference. I believe going away, they're hands down the favorites in the AFC North. There's not another team in the AFC North that can compete with this team from a talent perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, not on both sides of the ball at least.
No, and I also like the draft as well because we mentioned Malachi Starks and Mike Green, but they also went offensive line in round 3. They went linebacker in round 4. They went offensive line again in round 5. And they went cornerback. They went kicker as well. With Justin Tucker's situation, you're gonna
Yeah.
have to go kicker eventually. Yeah. And then obviously I mentioned Lejonte Wester round 6, and then they went defensive line. So a lot of the guys that they drafted, they needed. They needed a lot of these guys in the draft. You went safety to help boost up the secondary, and then you went pass rusher round 2 because you need a pass rusher because you're lacking in that area, and then also bring in some more offensive linemen because the offensive line, well, yes, you have two really good offensive linemen at the center and the tackle position. You still need more depth. So I like what they're doing overall from a draft perspective, and then what they did in free agency and what they still have in their developmental process and their star players that are currently on that team. So the Ravens are doing great. The Ravens are a consistently good team, good organization. They know what to spend, what not to spend. I don't see much of flaws when it comes to this team.
Me either.
All right, well let's move on. That was fun. Let's move on. Um, let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals. This team is weird, very weird. Um,
One second. Let me refresh my thing right quick.
Oh, it's all good. I'm getting everything right now situated. Um, okay, here we go. Cincinnati Bengals. Let me share my screen. All right, here we go. All right, so Cincinnati Bengals, as we all know, their offense is going to be elite. They re-signed Higgins, they re-signed Chase. They have a nice little slot receiver. I think who is this guy? He played for them last year. I think they drafted him. Was it last year? That was his first year or second year. Regardless, they have a good offense. Then you have Chase Brown. He came to his own last year. That's my guy. I drafted him last year. Unfortunately, it didn't propel me into playoffs, but it's all good. But Orlando Brown, I mean, he's uh, you know, offensive line is okay. Not
It's a
terrible.
good team.
It's a good team. It's a good offense. I'll say it's a good offense. Tight end is all right. I mean, their offense is good. It's gonna be good. Defensively, yeah.
Some work
Uh
needs to be done
yeah.
for sure.
Uh, it's not the greatest.
Actually, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. The defense is terrible. It's honestly terrible. They First of all, let's get the elephant out the room. They have no pass rusher. Jamar Stewart hasn't participated in any team activities. Trey Hendrickson, they said they started having discussions about a contract negotiation, but no update on that front. And after what TJ Watt just got paid, I know he's not going to want TJ Watt money, but the price might have went up just a tad bit in that department. This defense is terrible. I mean, just flat out terrible. It's maybe one dude on here with the ham sandwich. You still have Geno Stone starting safety for you. He was god awful last year. Like this is bad. And this is why I tell them that I know that you keeping the trio of Burrow, Higgins, and Jamar was top of the list for them, but like that's not how you build a competitive roster. You don't allocate that much resources to three players on the offense, especially two of them, a number two receiver at that. And T. Higgins is great talent, but like we all know, Jamar is the guy you could put not almost anybody, but you could draft a dude and he could probably put up some of them T. Higgins. And T. Higgins, it's injury concerns. So I don't understand what the Bengals was doing this offseason. Then, like, your first round draft pick not showing up, your second round draft pick, I don't even know who they drafted in the second round.
They drafted a linebacker, Demetrius Knight from South Carolina.
I don't know anything about this dude game, so I'm not even going to speak on that. But they're just in a bad spot right now on that defensive side of the ball. Like it is wow.
It's pedestrian to say much. They're gonna have to score again, like last year. They're gonna have to rely heavily on that offense in order to generate any type of wins because defensively, outside of Hendrickson and if Stewart comes back, outside of those two, potentially, who else is going to step up to the plate? I don't see the secondary stepping up. I don't see the linebackers really stepping up. Is really looking bad right now for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow he's going to have to try to overcome yet again another season. I don't see it. I don't see it. I agree with you on the Higgins point. I think they waited a year too late. I think Higgins they should have tried to trade him last year, the season prior, because again, when you're having a guy on a franchise tag, what does that tell you? That tells you that you guys are in a standstill. You can't figure out what number best fits both sides. And then when you did have a figure out a contract, it was way too much for a number two receiver. You're paying him number one receiver money for being a number two receiver. I like T Higgins, but in my opinion, I'm not paying him number one receiver money to be my number two.
Well, he got 30 mil.
Yeah, well, let me see. Let me see. Hold
28
on.
is it 28? It's 28 or 30. I think it got kind of like around what Brandon Ayuk got.
He got a lot of money. Let's just say that he got a lot of money, and it's going to hurt the cap for them going forward. I didn't like the move. I think they should have traded him. Remember that draft where they had a bunch of really good receivers? I think that was the perfect draft for them to trade T Higgins and go after one of those receivers in the draft. They had remember that was the Keon Coleman, that was the those other receivers that are in the draft. It was a lot of really good receivers that year, and they just elected to keep T Higgins. I don't get it. I don't get why they would do that, especially when you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow and you already have Jamar Chase. I don't get the point because now
T. Higgins is getting 28 mil a year, just about, and 40 of it is guaranteed. So it's 115 over 4 years. 40 is guaranteed. 30 was promised at signing. So they do have an out at least.
but still, if you're trying to compete this year and then last year as well, it would have behooved you to already trade T Higgins and then get some draft picks back. Because when I look at their previous draft, they had one, two, three, four, five, six. They only had six draft picks. How are you going to build a roster with only six draft picks? You're going to need more than that if you want to compete, especially when you're hard capped. I just think it's just bad. It's just a bad move for the Bengals. I would have traded T Higgins to try to get more picks, draft a receiver. I would have traded him after the 23 season
Can
instead
you
of waiting.
turn your mic up a little bit?
Oh, my fault. I probably got to move it closer. I would have traded him
Yeah.
after the 23 season. Stop going to the route of franchise tagging him because that's never going to work unless you're going to overpay for him. And that's what they did. They overpaid for him. I don't get it. I don't get it. This is what bad franchises do. And then you have the Shamar Stewart situation. They can't come to a contract deal because of the terms of the agreement. I forget what it said. I think it was something to the realm of
It was
there.
about guarantees.
It was something about if he gets injured.
Yeah,
If he,
he can forfeit his guarantees.
right, and I believe that's the first time they ever put that in a contract
I think,
for a
yeah,
player.
I want to say this is the first year they did that.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. So yeah, it's just bad. I wouldn't have stepped on that field neither.
So now you have that situation going on where you have your first round pick not reporting to camp, not signing a deal. It's just a disaster. I'm really curious. Will Joe Burrow eventually ask out?
Man,
I'm really curious because if they continue to go to this trajectory, we all know Joe Burrow. He wants to win. Jamar Chase wants to win. I don't see any scenario where he just continues to allow the Bengals organization to do business this way without any repercussions. So,
the organization notoriously cheap, bad
ab-
facilities,
absolutely.
training. The medical staff is questionable because people keep getting hurt, and they don't even want to pay the players that like Trey Hendrickson. They don't even want to pay the rookies. So I mean, what direction is this team really headed towards?
They should have traded Trey Henderson. Try to get some draft picks for him. It's just stupid stuff that they're doing. Like Trey Henderson is an amazing player, but you had one of the worst defenses last year, and he was leading the league in sacks. Wouldn't it behoove you in a edge heavy draft and an interior defensive line heavy draft to just trade him and then just draft a bunch of edge rushers or interior defensive linemen and rebuild your defense in that scenario? Why wouldn't you do that? Don't get
He
like
drafted one edge and said, "All right,
I
that's
don't get
enough."
it. I don't get it. I don't get the logic of some of these teams, especially the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson is an amazing player, but edge is it's not a scarcity. It's not in a scarcity where there's not a bunch of great edges. We're getting a lot of great edges this year, this past draft. Go after the edges in this draft or go after the interior defensive lineman because that's how you win in the NFL. Well, you have a bunch of really good edge rushers and a bunch of really good interior defensive linemen, and you just elect to not do that? That's just malpractice.
Trying to win, having shootouts every year, every week is not the play. It's good for fantasy football, but winning the Super Bowl, not so much.
They acting like there's like an actual luxury. The way that they doing business is like they think that there's a luxury tax in the NFL and they can go over the cap and enter the luxury tax. But guess what? They can't do that, and they would never do that because the ownership is cheap. I just don't understand their philosophy. It just blows my mind. It really does. If you're a cheap organization, wouldn't it behoove you to just trade T. Higgins and trade Trey Hendrickson and try to fill those spots in the draft? But no, you don't do that. Ugh. I don't. I
It's
don't.
it's
I don't
it's
get this team.
it's insane.
I don't get this team.
They are. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out what their cap, like if they're under or over the cap.
Let me see. You looking at
Uh,
spot track?
yeah. How do I see that as?
So let me see. They have 6 million in cap space now.
Um,
Yeah. Well, this is according to the 2024 cap table. Let's see, 2025. It says in 2025 they have 32 million in cap space.
and they're still this cheap.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know.
They have the eighth most cap space, and they're okay. Whatever.
I don't know, man.
I
I
don't
really don't know.
understand.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Anywho, let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Um, let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh boy.
This is another team where I don't know what to say.
I do. All right. Let
All
me
right,
kick
here we
this
go.
off.
Here we go. Go right ahead, man.
The
Go right ahead.
Steelers are an interesting case
Yeah.
because you got DK Metcalf, traded for him, gave up draft capital. Then you get rid of George Pickens,
Hmm.
which, okay, sure, I guess you got tired of George Pickens stuff, but it ain't like DK Metcalf is this upstanding, non diva wide receiver either. But hey, not my team, not my circus. You got Robert Woods starting for you in Big 2025. You got Robert Woods starting for you.
Yep.
And Calvin, oh, I like Calvin Austin as a number 3 in special teams guy, but he's expected to be your number 2 dude, and they're supposed to win a bunch of games in this tough conference. And you got Aaron Rodgers, who was iffy about if he even wanted to continue to play football. He's already coming out and said this will be more than likely his last year playing. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he was a scrub last year. I think he had some. He actually was pretty solid if you look at the numbers, but he ain't good enough to uplift this talent. You still got Broderick Jones starting for you at left tackle. He was god awful
Ugh.
last year,
Very bad.
like looking like a waste of a pick. I mean, your running back one is Jalen Warren, and you got Caleb Johnson, which I actually like that
I
pick
actually
for
like
them.
Caleb Johnson. He's a
Yeah, I like Caleb
bruiser.
Johnson
I
as
like
well.
him.
But like, okay, then you trade for Jalen Ramsey to get rid of Minka Fitzpatrick in the trade. You also bring Jonnu Smith in,
And Darius Slay, who's
but
a
you
couple year
have
in age.
Pat Freiermuth already.
Yeah.
So what is the plan here? Like, I don't understand what this team building is for them.
I do.
You drafted Derek Harmon in
I
the
like.
first.
I
I like
love. I
Derek
love
Harmon.
that
I
pick.
like
I
Derek
love that
Harmon.
pick.
You got Keanu Benton. Y'all have a solid, and y'all got a solid D line. You signed T.J. Watt. Your
Alex
defensive front
Highsmith.
four and all that is great. I'll give you that. You got Peyton Wilson, who I was a big fan of coming out of draft. You know, he with the whole injury concern, and you got Patrick Queen, who's a decent dude. So your front seven, honestly, I don't really have much to say about it negatively. But honestly, your quarterbacks, your number two, your tandem, you got uh uh JPJ and Jalen Ramsey starting for you. Congratulations. I like Joey Porter Jr. That's good. Juan Thornhill is your starting safety. I don't know about that. Oh, you got Darius Slay too. I forgot. He old, but he's not completely cooked food. Uh, Yeah, the offense is really my main gripe with this team. The defense, I think the defense will be a top 10 unit in my eyes, just because that the D line is just so good, and you actually have good DBs. But that offense, man, I'm just gonna. I feel like they're just gonna struggle, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers is a guy that likes to give receivers the ball when they're where when they are where they're supposed to be at the
Anticipation
time they're
throw.
supposed to be. And DK Metcalf, sometimes it could look sometimes DK effort on the field is kind of like, I don't know if that could be a clash or anything like that, but man, this offense really doesn't inspire much confidence out of me for the Steelers. It's just I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
It's one good receiver. The tight end, he's okay, not an elite tight end. The quarterback, he's 41 years old. He's going to retire after this season, and the offensive line is pretty mediocre, and the wide receiving core is pretty bad. Besides DK Metcalf, so there's not a whole lot of talent on this offense. You have an aging quarterback. You don't have a good offensive line for an aging quarterback, so that's going to be problematic. The running back position is pretty good. I actually like the two running backs,
Yeah,
but
I
the
like
offensive
Warren and
line is so
Caleb. Yeah.
but the offensive line is just so mediocre that are they going to be able to find running lanes to be productive enough? I don't know. That's a huge question mark. And then you have the offensive coordinator and Arthur Smith. Can I really trust Arthur Smith? I can't trust Arthur Smith.
No.
So that's just very problematic. What it's going to come down to is going to come down to this defense. The defense is going to have to ball out. I think this defense is going to be great. Well, I wouldn't say great, but it's going to be really good. I really like the front seven. I think TJ Watt is going to be really good for them because they have an amazing front in Harmon, Benton, Hayward, and then you also have Highsmith, who's also really good as well. So they have a great front seven. Not a good, a great front seven. I believe they'll be tremendous in the AFC North against the Ravens, against the Bengals, against the Browns. But what is their ceiling? Like, it seems like every single year they're in the same predicament where they're winning 9 or they're winning 10 games. I think this team can win 9 or 10 games. But is that what you're only striving for? Is win 9 or 10 games and possibly make the playoffs? Is that really what we're
It,
doing
it
every
shouldn't
year?
be. It shouldn't be because like they're obviously they're not going to have a losing record. That's just something Mike Tomlin doesn't do. But it, it's just like okay, let's say they get to the playoffs, they go against a Ravens or a Bills or something, or God forbid the Chiefs. They're not winning.
Oh no, they're getting dominated.
They wouldn't even beat the Texans.
Yeah. You
I,
know,
I,
yeah. You
would
know
they
what I'll
beat the
say?
Chargers? Like
I'll tell you this. I can see how they can win games if the Pittsburgh Steelers adopt some of a similar philosophy to Matt LaFleur's first year with the Packers. If you remember that first year, Aaron Rodgers was coming off of a major injury. He wasn't an elite quarterback that year, and they relied heavily on the running game. Aaron Jones had an amazing year, probably his best year ever with the Packers, or best year ever as a pro. I think if they want to win a lot of games, if they want to be productive on offense, they're going to have to lean heavily on that running game. And then you have Metcalf, you have Fryermuth, just like with the Packers. The Packers they had one good receiver in Devontae Adams, but the thing is, DK Metcalf ain't no Devontae Adams. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to throw his. Oh, they also have John O. Smith. I forgot about John O. Smith.
you know
They
what this
don't.
team reminds me of?
Well, what does it remind you of? The
The
Titans.
2015 Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos.
You got an old top five QB in NFL history, Aaron Rodgers. You got your number one receiver guy who's big, physical, DK Metcalf, Demarius Thomas. You got the speedster on the out speedster, Calvin Austin, Emmanuel Sanders. You got a running back that can be a little bruised and also could do a little something out the backfield. C.J. Anderson, Jalen Warren. You got your premier pass rusher, T.J. Watt, DeMarcus Ware. You got good interior linemen. Like this is literally the 2025 version of the 2015 Broncos. You got the corner. You got Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr. and J. Ram and Joey Port. Like this is literally almost a replica of that team.
I don't think the secondary is nearly as good as it was
No, the
back in
secondary is not as good.
2015.
They not no fly zone level. They not the no fly zone, but it's just like the roster construction
Right,
is kind of similar.
right. I think the receiving core also, I would probably give the Broncos the
Yeah, the
edge
Broncos had to bet.
with
Shoot, that
Demarius
Broncos
Thomas,
team.
Emmanuel Sanders, and then you had Julius Thomas at tight end. I'll probably give them the edge as well. I don't know about the offensive line. I don't know how good the Broncos offensive
Offensive line, I'm
line
not about
was,
to get into all that.
but I do think if they're going to win with this offense, they need to rely heavily on that running game. I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to buy into that philosophy, even though Arthur Smith, that's what he holds his hat on is running the football. So I like Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson can be an amazing player in this offense if they lean on running the football. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think this is a terrible team. It's just they don't have a high ceiling. You know,
Yeah,
that's just what
they
it
could probably
is.
win. I see they probably max out at 10 wins.
Like quite literally, that's literally what they're gonna do. They're gonna win 9 to 10 games every single season, and if they make the playoffs, they're gonna get dominated by whoever has home field advantage. It's every year, every year. All right, let's go to the last team. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns. Yikes.
Oh boy.
Yikes. There's
Give
maybe
me a crack. Give me poop show on three. 1, 2, 3, poop show. Because
there's
what
three
in the
teams.
world?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You get your point. You feel
There's
like you
three
gonna say I
teams.
was just
There's
gonna start joning.
there's three teams in this league that are in the news for all the wrong reasons. That is the Cleveland Browns, the Raiders, and the Cowboys. It seems like every single year something's going on off the field that prevents the team from winning. The Cleveland Browns. Let's not even get to all the other mess. The off the field mess. You have Jukins and you have Devin Bush, both in legal trouble. Devin Bush allegedly I think he may have assaulted his girlfriend or something like that. And then or harassed her. And then you have
Judkins.
Jukins. Didn't he assault some woman or something like that?
It was his like I guess girlfriend.
Allegedly. I'll just say allegedly to protect us. But yeah, what is going on with the Cleveland Browns? Every
It is a
single year, it's
dysfunctional
something.
organization.
And I'll cut them a little bit of slack. I didn't think Judkins was like that at all. I didn't think he was going to resort to something like that because coming out of college, we didn't hear anything like
Yeah, I
this
didn't hear
happening.
anything character concerns, nothing.
Right. So it's weird that as soon as he gets to the Cleveland Browns, news comes out about him doing this. I don't know what's in the air. I don't know what the Cleveland Browns organization are saying to these people, to these players, but it's not resonating. It's not getting to them. What is your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I listen. This roster construction is very confusing. And it's a daggone shame because they honestly have a really solid offensive line. Like they are Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller, Joel Batonio, DeJuan Jones, who I like. Like I like their line. It's just you look at their receiver, the skill position group. I like Njoku as well. Jerry Judy,
He's a number
Cedric
two.
Tillman, and Deontay Johnson. After what we seen Deontay Johnson do these past 2 years, which was nothing, you and quit on his team. You that's your starting wide receiver. I'm just like it's baffling to me. And Jerry Judy had a solid year last year, but how much was that contributed to winning football? None.
Right.
And like you got Jerome Ford as your RB1, and then Quinshawn Judkins over here beating on women allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bad. It's bad for him. At least you got Dylan Sampson. Um, but yeah, this is something. Yeah, Joe Flacco's your starting QB.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The
The
QB, that's the one, the number
Yeah.
one, the
Yeah.
QB issue. It is terrible. Because you got Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's about 40 some years old, man. Come on now. You got Kenny Pickett as the backup. Like, really? Then Dylan Gabriel, and then Shador Sanders. And Deshaun Watson, he's going to be out of commission for the whole year. He was garbage anyway. I just don't know, what do you do? Like, if I'm running this organization, I might have just traded Myles Garrett. I said, we need to completely reset this. This
Facts.
is because something is seriously wrong.
They already gave him the money though, and he's
I
31.
know.
Nobody's
I'm
gonna
saying
want that contract.
before I
Right.
signed him, I would have been like, we got to reset because something is seriously wrong. Like you drafted Mason Graham
I like
in
that
the
pick.
top 5. I like Mason Graham a lot, but is he really what was needed for this team? Probably not.
Nah,
I
they
just
yeah.
I like Carson Schlesinger. He's his tape is really good. Um, Greg Newsome is good. You know, their secondary I have no problem with. Their secondary is one of the best units in the league. But boy, that offense is
Yeah,
like
I do like their draft of Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. I like that. Get another tight end. That'll really help. Um, Judkins, we don't know what that situation. If he can stay out of trouble and he doesn't miss much time, that's still a good pick in my opinion. Um, the Shador Sanders one. They also drafted Dylan Sampson. That was another one that confused me. You drafted a running back in round 2, and then you're going to draft another running back in round 4. I don't understand that. Why not just draft a receiver? Made no sense in my opinion. And then the Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. You draft Dylan Gabriel in round 3, and then you're going to draft Shador Sanders in round 5. I like Shador Sanders. I would have drafted him over Dylan Gabriel by far. But drafting two QBs in the same draft, and one is in round 3 and then one is in round 5, I
and the
don't get
round
that
5
point.
QB is better than the round 3 one.
Right, right. And then there's been mixed report. Excuse me. There's been mixed reporting on the quarterback position. Who's gonna start? I'm hearing Shador Sanders might not have a chance in starting, and it's really just maybe it's Gabriel and Pickett. It's so much mixed reporting going on. I'm hearing Deshaun Watson might actually come back. He might be
Oh
healthy enough
Lord.
to come back. I don't know what's going on with the quarterback position. I'm completely confused at this point. It's just a dumpster fire. It really
To
is.
say the least.
So,
Nasty work.
I don't get this team at all,
There's
man.
nothing, there's just they're gonna be in the same spot they was drafting in the top 5.
But you know what's great though? As bad as the situation is, they have an additional first round pick next year
That is true.
from a team that is more than 50% chance they're probably going to be bad, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, if they can get a top 5 pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars in what many believe is a way better QB draft, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. if Shador Sanders doesn't pan out, obviously, I do think Shador is a really good quarterback. I thought he was a late first, maybe actually no, I say second round grade on him. Second round grade. He's a really nice quarterback, and I think if put in the right situation, I think he'll strive. I don't know if he'll strive in these conditions though. It's going to be very hard for him to strive in these conditions, considering how dysfunctional this team is. But it is Kevin Stefanski. He's not a horrible coach.
True.
He's not a horrible offensive coach. He just couldn't work with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson just makes him look bad. But when you have Joe Flacco, he looks pretty good. Even with the backup QB and old QB and Joe Flacco, he still was able to make the playoffs with Joe Flacco and make Amari Cooper look like a number one receiver. So who knows? But I don't see this Cleveland Browns team competing at all. I think they're easily the fourth best team in this division. Their talent, while I do like their front four and their secondary is pretty decent, I just don't think this defense can overcome whatever the offense is producing or lack thereof. So that's just my thoughts.
I agree. That's
All
where I'm
right.
at with it too.
All right, well, let's rank all four teams in the division. Number one, by far, I have the Ravens. I just think the Ravens, from top down, they have the most talent. They have the best coach in the division, in my opinion, even over Mike Tomlin. They have the best quarterback by, well, I wouldn't say by far because Joe Burrow is that dude, but they have the best quarterback in the division. They have the best running back in the division. They have the best linebacker in the division. They have a phenomenal secondary with, in my opinion, the best tandem in terms of safeties with Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton. They also improved at edge with Mike Green. Their offensive line is okay. Their offense from the wide receiver position is really good, and they have two quality tight ends. The Ravens got that going away. The number two, I'm gonna go with. This is tough. This is tough. No, it's really tough. Um, damn, damn. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Uh,
I think that's where I'm at with it too.
oh,
Because
Jalen
the
just.
defense,
Oh my God. Yeah. Here's why I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Here's why I'll go with the Steelers. The defense is gonna be elite, in my opinion, or one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. And I think offensively, there's an identity there. If they lean on that identity, I believe they can win some games. Which if they lean on running the football a lot, I believe they can win some games. Don't put too much of the responsibility on Aaron Rodgers and lean on that running game. I like the Steelers. And then I would go the Cincinnati Bengals at 3 because as great as that offense is, their defense is trash. And everything that's coming out of that organization, it just seems very negative. And that defense and then Shamar Stewart situation, I just don't like what's going on with the Bengals at this moment. I just think from top down, it looks like a complete mess. And then 4, I have the Cleveland Browns because they have the least amount of talent and their quarterback situation is atrocious. That's where I'm at. What about you?
yeah. I think I'm gonna go with the same rankings. I'm gonna go Ravens at one. Feel like they have the best roster, top to bottom, best QB, best running back, like you said, all of that good stuff. Uh, Best defense. It's easy pick. They Ravens winning 12 plus games in my eyes. Two, I'm gonna go Steelers as well because, like you said, the defense. The defense, I just can't trust the Bengals on the defense. I know they like to put up a bunch of points, but the greatest show on turf, this ain't the era to do that kind of football. So I'm going to Steelers because, like I said, that offense, Aaron Rodgers wasn't terrible last year. I think he still has some juice left in him. And you do have a DK Metcalf and a solid running game. So I think they can, and if you just get some improvement from your offensive line, you could I could see the Steelers possibly winning 9-10 games, which was good enough for second in that division. But the Bengals is my third team. That defense just can't be. I don't see a single dude that invokes really much any confidence as far as being a standout player for them, unless they sign Trey Hendrickson. But they need to they dragging their feet on it. I tell you that much. Or somehow sign Shamar Stewart to that contract. Training camp starts literally next week, so they gotta have to figure something out quickly. But offense will be fine for the Bengals. But they getting to a shootout every week is just not ideal. It just really isn't. This reminds me of the 2020 Cowboys. Great offense, couldn't play a lick of defense. So yeah, Bengals is my third team. Of course, Browns is last. It's just a mess. It's a mess over there in Cleveland. Thank the Lord for the Cavs, because good grief.
They're waiting for 2026. That's what they're doing. They're waiting for 2026 draft.
They may be waiting until Jesus come back at this point, because that
Ho-
team is awful.
Hopefully, Shador can bring some type of competitiveness to that roster.
Shador, we need you,
Yeah,
Cleveland
Shador.
savior.
Yeah, maybe Shador can prove some haters wrong, and maybe he'll be good for them. But as of right now, I don't see it. But yeah, that'll do it for AFC North Division. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Courtside podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Salute.
All right.